Have you ever updated a React state object but the screen absolutely refused to change? You check the console, the data is definitely there, but the UI didn't re-render. So you refresh, you rewrite, you start doubting your code. Most developers panic. They try to fix it by adding a dummy state variable just to force a re-render. But this is not a React bug. React is doing exactly what it was designed to do. To understand why this happens, we have to look under the hood at how JavaScript handles the memory. Welcome back to Code Chronicles Hub. Today, we are going to master the reference versus value trap in JavaScript and see exactly why React sometimes ignores your state updates. Let's forget React for a moment. Consider this simple JavaScript example. What do you think it logs? It logs Alex. But why did changing user to also changes user one? Because objects in JavaScript are stored by reference. Think of an object as a house. When you create user1 object, JavaScript builds house somewhere in memory and gives user1 the address. So the user1 variable doesn't store the house itself. It just stores the address of the house. Now when you write user2 equals user1, you are not building a second house. You are simply giving the user2 the same address. So if user2 walks into the house and changes the name to Alex, user1 will see Alex too, because both variables are pointing to the same house in the memory. Now let's connect this to React. Here is a simple React example. Look at the update name function. We are mutating the user object directly and then calling the set user. But the screen doesn't update. Why? Because React compares the previous and new states to decide if it should re-render. Under the hood, React uses a comparison called Object.is. It does not look inside the objects to see if the property changed. It only checks the memory reference. So when we mutate the object, we change the furniture inside the house, but the address of the house is exactly the same. When we pass the same address back to the set user, React says, this is the same object you gave me before, nothing changed. So the React skips the re-render. To trigger a re-render, we need to give React a brand new memory address, and we do that by creating a new object. The spread operator tells the JavaScript, create a brand new object, copy the old properties into it, and update the name. Now React sees a different memory reference and it correctly triggers a re-render. So this is not a React rule. It is just a JavaScript memory rule. React is simply optimized. It does not deep compare the objects because that would be too expensive. Instead, it just compare the references, which means understanding how JavaScript handles memory is more important than memorizing the React patterns. And here is one more important detail. The spread operator creates a shallow copy. If you mutate nested objects, you can still introduce bugs. So always be careful while working with the deeply nested state. So stop adjusting your code until it works. Start tracing your memory references. Once you understand how JavaScript engine handles data, React stops being mysterious and becomes completely predictable. If this mental model helped you, subscribe and let me know in comments what JavaScript behavior confuses you the most. We'll break it down in the next video. Until then, happy coding!